Hello and welcome to All Things Seniors. This is your host, Rafiq. With over 20 years of caregiving experience, on this channel I empower other caregivers one episode at a time. Now, as much as I have learned a lot of things with my caregiving journey with my dad, what I have found is that those caregivers, unlike me, who are taking care of a loved one who are on their dementia or Alzheimer's journey, their path is particularly difficult. It is not only caregiving is tough in itself, people who are providing care for their loved ones who are going through dementia or Alzheimer's is very, very hard, and they need to really take care of their mental health, those caregivers, so that they don't burn out, because the burnout rate is really fast in dementia families. So today I will share some tips with you. Some of these are from my earlier interview with Teepa Snow, who is an internationally acclaimed dementia expert, and certain other things which I have learned over the years from some families with whom I have worked. So let me share some tips with you, and hopefully this will make your life easier in your caregiving journey with dementia. So let's start. The very first point I would like to make is that the people who are going through dementia, many a times what their view is, what their perception or their choice of words is something which is not aligned with people around them. They are distant from reality because of the things which are going through in their mind. And one thing that every dementia expert will tell you, that do not go into confrontation. I'll give you an example. Let's say mom says, look at these butterflies, where you can see that there are no butterflies. Now, there are a couple of ways of handling this situation. Mom says, look at these butterflies, and you can say, Mom, there are no butterflies there. That's a confrontation. This conversation will not go anywhere because mom is seeing butterflies. And if you say there are no butterflies, that's a problem. So the other way to deal with this is, mom says, wow, look at these butterflies. Now, you don't see butterflies, and let's say mom says these are butterflies on the table. You say, wow, really? Tell me a little bit more about these butterflies. Now, as a caregiver, we don't only have to provide care for their physical needs in terms of the food, changing, physical limitations, whatever they may be. You are also there to provide them the safe zone for whatever the mental ability they are at right now. And you acknowledging their reality, meaning there are butterflies, you entering their reality, they will now accept you as a safe person in their safe zone. Because not everybody will tell them, yes, there are butterflies. People will give them a stare or look at them or deny, right? And all those people will be in a list. These are not safe people. They don't agree with me. They don't understand me. But you acknowledging butterflies will enter that zone, and your caregiving journey will become easier. So very, very important that we need to adapt to their reality rather than trying to bring them back. So let's see. It won't be easy, eh? It won't be easy. Nobody's saying it's easy. What we are saying is we have to try these things to see that how it can potentially make our caregiving journey a bit easier. Point number one, get to their reality rather than confrontation. So next 2 points which I want to share with you are more about the physical space. The very first one is more administrative and logistical. So have better light, because it is written in many researches and books that people who are going through dementia, they become very anxious when they'll start losing control on their thoughts. And especially if it is a bit dark, they get a bit more uncertain or unnerved. So providing them better lighting will allow them better understanding of the space. We also say that not have a lot of clutter around them, because it also makes them anxious in terms of their decision making and processing of the environment. So these are the two such things which will make their overall physical space a bit more safe. In a kitchen, label things, write things as to what are things meant for. For example, people would forget how to use a knife, or people would forget how to use a toothbrush, and having a small picture of a person using toothbrush would remind them of the use of that certain item in their surrounding, which will hopefully help them get a bit calm, less anxious, and it will again make your caregiving journey easier. So that's the physical side. And another side of the physical space is to use music to your advantage, right? Many researches are now coming up which are saying that they may be losing the side of the brain which takes care of the memory, but their creative side, their musical and artistic side is intact. The side which will see your body reaction and your facial reaction and how you treat them is intact, right? They may forget your name and your relationship, but they still remember how you deal with them, or whether you give them respect or not. So that creative side, music plays a big part in that, right? People are saying that although the person going through dementia may forget everything, but they still remember their favorite songs. So if you know some of the favorite music, whether it is opera or jazz, or some instrumentals, a particular genre of the music, whatever that music is, play that music in the background, light tone, and it will create a calm environment for them. There was an episode that we did on our podcast earlier, All Things Seniors podcast, where we had an interview where for dementia patients, you could play the role of a music detective, right? Again, please search that episode, you will like it. For example, let's say my father, I know what kind of songs he like, right? But let's say if you become caregiver of somebody, let's say your loved one, and you don't know particularly their interest in music, how would you even find what kind of music they like, right? And the author there says that you could play the music of their teen and 20s years. So let's say for my father, his teen years were 70s. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, if I did not know what kind of music he would like, I could start playing songs from his 70s, like year 70, which was his 20s, and see if his body is shaking, like if he's tapping his hand or moving his leg. That means this particular song he liked. And if there is a song which he doesn't show some bodily signs, you could move on. And that way you could create a playlist of 10-15 songs, and playing those songs in the background as a dementia patient, a family member will really create that calm in their creative mind. So that would be my tip number 2. So my tip number 3 is about wandering. And people who are providing care for their loved ones with dementia, that how serious that matter is. But before we can put some procedures and controls and risk mitigation around wandering, we need to understand what kinds of wandering are, because there are 2 distinct types and they both have different ways of providing care for or providing controls around. So the first type is aimless or random wandering, and the other one is more directed wandering. Let's start with the first one. The aimless or random wandering could happen anytime. Your loved one has this risk tendency of opening the door and walking out in any direction, anytime, any shape. That's the riskiest, right? And for that, there are controls like having alarm on the door. If somebody opens at a time when you were not expecting something, alarm goes off, you get a notification on your phone or your watch, and you can keep an eye on your loved one. There are necklaces with a gadget or a wristband or a watch on your loved one's body, hand, so that as soon as they wander out of your home, if they cross a particular perimeter, you get an alarm code. It also has GPS on it, so even if they go out, you can keep an eye on where they are. So use some tools and technology to have that control. On the more directed side, many dementia families also observe that 9 in the morning or 8 in the morning, usually the loved one would get up, get dressed, and now they are ready to go to work, where they have not been working for past 20 years. They are retired. But and you'll say that, this is strange. but in their mind, they're going for work. And how do we protect on top of the couple of controls in terms of door locks and alarms and GPS control devices? A very simple, non-electronic or non-technical control is putting a notice inside the door saying, today is Sunday, office is closed, you don't need to go to office, something to that effect. And the day could be any day. It could be Monday or Tuesday, but for your loved one, just keeping one notice, today is Sunday, office is closed, so that they stop there, right? And that's one way that families have found that it has been effective. So a couple of things which also you need to be mindful, that when a person is in the wandering frame of mind, wandering zone, they are in a way going towards the exit of the house, and in a way their sole focus is going to the door. So anything that could be a fall prompting thing, like maybe shoes or a rug, remove those things from near the door area so that they don't trip and fall. Anything fall prevention techniques could be adopted. Also, some families would put a camera near the entrance of the door so that if there is a movement there, they will get a notification again so that they can see if the loved one is aiming or trying to wander at that time. So I hope these things help you. If any of this is helping you or providing you with some thoughts, if this is helpful, like the episode, subscribe to the channel, because what YouTube does, YouTube will say, okay, look at this caregiver, they are liking it. So YouTube will show it to other caregivers around the world as well, and we'll be able to help more caregivers. It helps the channel that way. Thank you. And the last point I want to leave you with is, caregiving in itself is tough. Caregiving for dementia loved one is particularly tough. Whatever I'm giving you in tips or tools will not make it easy. It will not just become easy. It may be easier if you take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself. If you are an empty vessel, you can't pour. So find that time for self-care. Find that respite care. Find somebody from within the family or a hired help who can provide care, where you go and find that a day off, or every week or every month, whatever suits you, because you need to find that time for yourself so that when you come back, you feel better, and then you will be able to better take care of your loved one. See, if we are tired, if we are frustrated, our body language will show that. Our facial expressions, our choice of words, all those things will show to our loved one that we are not in a loving mode right now, right? You remember at the beginning of the episode, I told you, in the brain of a person with dementia or Alzheimer's, they have this side of the brain which memorizes or has the memory. They lose that part of the brain. But the other side, which still sees the music or the emotion or the love or the care, the choice of words that you as a caregiver will demonstrate, they still see all of that. So if you disrespect them because you are frustrated, or if you don't give them that love and affection which they were craving, they may not remember your name or the relationship right now, but they will see that you are not loving them, and they will put you in that list of non-safe people. And when that happens, your relationship with them as a caregiver will only become more tough. So I highly encourage you, take care of yourself so that when you are interacting with them, you have the patience to continue to show them the respect. And when the butterfly conversation starts, you can see those butterflies. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was great to have you here. Take care of yourself, because a better caregiver is only who is a rested caregiver. Rested caregiver, better caregiver. Great to have you here, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.